The iPhone 13 Pro and 13 Pro Max have been out for about a month now, and with the holiday season fast approaching, it might be coming into your mind. Should I buy this phone for a Christmas present or even for myself and upgrade from, say, an 11 Pro or 11 Pro Max like I did? In today's video, we're going to be going through and talking about why you should upgrade to the iPhone 13 Pro this holiday season. Now, I chose to upgrade from my iPhone 11 Pro Max to the iPhone 13 Pro for a multitude of reasons. One is, of course, things that were added to the iPhone 12 series last year, such as MagSafe, faster charging, and of course, just an overall new design and refreshed look. Better cameras, of course, encompass that as well. However, going from an 11 series to a 13 series is definitely worth the upgrade, and here's why. The first reason is for the camera system. This is the main reason why I actually upgraded to the iPhone 13 from my iPhone 11 Pro Max. Now, again, this is the Pro model, I should mention. The main difference here is the camera system. Now, you might be saying, Andrew, well, yeah, the camera bumps on the back are bigger than like an iPhone 11, iPhone 10 series and before, even from the iPhone 12 series, I should mention. But it's not just the size that matters here, no pun intended. It's not just the size here that matters when it comes to the camera bumps. It's also what's inside of these cameras. And let's talk a little bit about what some of those key differences are. Again, this is comparing the iPhone 11 Pro series to the iPhone 13 Pro series. Now, the iPhone 13 Pro series has a host and multitude more of new camera features packed into these new sensors on the back here. But it's not only what's packed into the back sensors, but also the front-facing camera that has changed as well. Now, all three cameras on the back of this phone, starting off, record in Apple Pro RAW format. This makes it so you can edit your videos in a more granular sense, and you're able to extract more colors out of them like never before. Another big difference between like an iPhone 11 series and 13 series is that you have a better aperture. This is the amount of light that is able to be brought into the lens, which overall helps the better overall quality and clarity of your photos. Something last year Apple introduced on the iPhone series was something called sensor shift technology. Now, the iPhone 12 and again 13 Pro series and all the iPhone 13 Pros and regular 13s for that matter have what's called sensor shift technology in them. Now, what sensor shift technology does is it's basically an ultra stabilization system inside all of the cameras on your iPhone. Now, what this does is when you're saying walking along, you're able to get super smooth, silky shots, and you're not compromising in those bumps. You don't have to go in and do as much editing and post when it comes to stabilization. This is particularly nice if, say, you attach your iPhone to like a mount on your head or on a bike or something like that, where you get a lot more vibration like off of a road or a trail, and you're able to stabilize your shots a lot better, and it looks absolutely fantastic. Now, the next big thing about the iPhone 13 Pro series that's much different than the iPhone 11 series is the fact that Apple has improved the optical zoom on these lenses. Instead of having a 4x zoom, you can go up to 6x optical zoom, and for digital zoom, that has been increased also from 10x to 15x zoom on the cameras on the back of the phone. Now, for all of you low-light photographers out there, you'll be happy to know that starting with the iPhone 12 series and coming into the iPhone 13 series, included something called night mode and night mode portraits now on the iPhone 13 Pro series. Now, night mode portraits allow for that nice Gaussian blur out in the background, but yet you're able to keep your subject in focus in very low light situations. Now, another cool thing with the iPhone 13 Pro this year also is that they introduced something called photo styles, which basically lets you super enhance the contrast or change the colors in your photography before you even take the picture. So it's basically a customization setting, a pre-customization setting to when you're taking pictures. Now, all the stuff I just mentioned was primarily focused around photography, but what about videography? Now, yes, there is the sensor shift technology that I talked about before that does give you those ultra stable shots, but what else has Apple improved in the iPhone 13 series from last year or 2 years ago? Well, one thing is something called cinematic mode. So what is cinematic mode? Cinematic mode basically makes it so you're able to take your shots and you're able to edit them in post-production. Get this is amazing. Post-production, you're able to adjust the focal length after you have shot the content on your phone. Meaning, if, say, somebody comes up into the shot and gets closer, like this, you can change the focus to be on that subject, and then when that person gets out of the frame, the focus will automatically adjust back to the person in the background, and vice versa. This is a very breakthrough when it comes to something on a phone. This is some sort of technology that was really reserved more for really professional grade video editors and cinematographers, that is. And for them to put such an amazing feature like that into an iPhone is a great feature and a great leap forward for the iPhone 13 Pro lineup. Now, the iPhone 12 lineup also did not have this technology, so this is something that's brand new for the 13 Pro lineup this year. Another thing some people might go absolutely nuts for, especially cinematographers, is the fact that you can now record ProRes RAW video on your iPhone 13. Yeah, that's right, ProRes RAW video. It's basically Apple's fancy codec that super compresses video, but it's a super high quality video. So that's a really great reason why a cinematographer, for example, might decide they want to update the iPhone 13 lineup this year. Another couple things Apple's brought to the iPhone 13 Pro lineup this year in their cinematography area is the fact that you can now record HDR video up to 60 frames per second, and then also there's a new time-lapse night mode feature. This means you can create really stunning time lapses in very low light situations. So those are all the things that Apple has adopted into the rear-facing cameras on the iPhone 13 Pro series this year. But what about the front-facing camera? Well, the front-facing camera inherited a lot of the features that the rear-facing cameras have this year on the lineup. This includes photographic styles, HDR4 video recording and photography, cinematic mode, ProRes RAW video recording, night mode, and deep fusion. These are all great features that Apple has adopted from the rear-facing cameras and again has brought to the front-facing cameras. Besides the cameras on the iPhone 13 Pro lineup this year, what are some other reasons why I decided to upgrade to it? Well, the second reason is for the ProMotion display. Apple released the ProMotion display into the new iPhone 13 Pro lineup this year, and it absolutely blows the competition out of the water. You can now watch 120 frames per second video and also have a much more immersive gaming experience on a device that can fit in your pocket instead of just like an iPad Pro. This is another reason why I decided to upgrade this year, was because of the adaptive refresh rate. Now, another cool thing about the iPhone 13 Pro's ProMotion display this year is the fact that the ProMotion display itself is a big battery saver. That's right, because Apple is able to make the frame rate on this device now go all the way down to 10 frames per second when you're just looking at the device itself, that really overall helps improve the battery life on your device so it's not having to refresh as much, especially on a static screen, like if you're reading a document. Now, reason number 3 for upgrading to the iPhone 13 Pro this year is because, well, it's a small one, but it's a kind of a big one in a way. The notch size on the device is actually smaller. That's right, Apple has finally made the notch size on the iPhone 13 Pro lineup 20% smaller than from previous generations. So this is the first time that Apple has really changed the notch size on the device since they released the iPhone X back a few years ago. This is really nice because you're able to get more screen real estate on your device and have an overall more immersive experience in watching videos or looking at content on your device. Reason number 4 that I upgraded this year, while a small one, is the fact that the screen on this device now can go up to 1000 nits in peak brightness in typical use situations, as opposed to 800 nits on the iPhone 11 Pro series. And finally, you've made it to the 5th reason why you should upgrade to the iPhone 13 Pro series this year, and that is because of the fantastic battery life in these devices. Apple this year has listened to its customer base, and with the 12 series last year that came out, those devices themselves had less battery than the iPhone 11 series. So people really kind of got upset when their iPhones last year didn't last as long when in everyday use. Battery life is something that is crucial to a phone, especially when you don't have easy access to a charger or somewhere you can charge your phone. Now, something that actually really shocked me when it came to looking at the mAh, which is how much power is in the battery pack in this phone compared to my iPhone 11 Pro Max. Again, Pro Max, this is the iPhone 13 Pro, not the iPhone 13 Pro Max, is that mAh battery capacity. The iPhone 11 Pro Max that I had 3,969 mAh. This battery on this device, on the iPhone 13 Pro, is only 3,095 mAh, which equivalates to a 22% overall smaller battery. Now you might be wondering, well, yeah, it's a 22% smaller battery, so obviously the battery life on this device is going to be worse than the iPhone 11 Pro Max, right? Well, that's where things get interesting. The fact that this is a 22% smaller battery, but Apple claims that the iPhone 13 Pro gets 22 hours of battery life versus the 11 Pro Max, which only gets 20 hours of battery life, actually really did shock me. Now, in real life, real world tests where I've actually been using this phone for a few weeks now, I found that actually, for me at least, I would say the battery life is about equivalent of the iPhone 11 Pro Max. It actually might be a little bit less. However, that varies, of course, on what you're doing on your phone. You're watching videos, you're streaming content, versus reading a page on the internet or reading an email. Those all are factors that can really affect the amount of battery and how fast your battery drains on your device. So take that with a grain of salt, but I just thought it was a very interesting statistic to point out. The fact that Apple's website says that this device with a 22% smaller battery supposedly gets 2 more hours of battery life than the iPhone 11 Pro Max did. And those are the 5 reasons why I think you should upgrade to the iPhone 13 Pro series this holiday season if you have an iPhone 11 series or older. The overall fact that the cameras, the battery life, and the 120Hz display on this device make it a fantastic buy for the holiday season. And with the holidays coming up, I'm sure you'll be able to actually go out and find this device for below MSRP, that is. I'm sure you'll be able to go find some great deals at carriers if you're due for an upgrade. As always, guys, thanks so much for watching my videos. Make sure you go follow me on Facebook and Twitter at LoveTech4You, and make sure to go check out my Patreon page. It's patreon.com/LoveTech for exclusive behind-the-scenes looks at what I'm doing here at LoveTech. Thanks so much, guys, for watching the video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Didn't get enough LoveTech today? Then head over to patreon.com/LoveTech to see exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, photos, and projects that I'm working on. Now, enjoy some bonus material from today's episode. Now we're talking a little bit about, I'm gonna switch camera angles again. Whoop, whoop.